No missiles. No troops crossing borders. No televised declarations of war. And yet an economy begins to suffocate. Banks freeze. Trade halts. A national currency collapses. The weapon isn't military, it's financial. And the trigger is often pulled not from the Pentagon, but from the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Why this matters now? Sanctions are no longer rare diplomatic tools. They are routine instruments of statecraft. Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Chinese firms, entire sectors, central banks, individuals. In a world built on dollar clearing, global banking networks, and cross-border capital flows, financial access is oxygen. Cut the oxygen, and pressure builds fast. This is not symbolic punishment. It is system-level leverage, and it works because the modern global economy runs through infrastructure, largely shaped by the United States. Historical context. Sanctions are not new. During the Cold War, they were blunt instruments: trade embargoes, export bans, travel restrictions, often leaky, often slow. What changed was financial globalization. After the 1970s, the US dollar became the backbone of international trade. Oil priced in dollars, commodities cleared in dollars, sovereign reserves held in dollars. Then came digital banking, instant settlement, integrated compliance systems. After 9/11s, counter-terror financing laws expanded dramatically. The financial system became a surveillance map. Transactions became traceable. Banks became enforcement partners. Sanctions evolved. They became precise, networked, data-driven, less blockade, more switch. How the system works step by step. Step 1. Designation. The Treasury, often through its Office of Foreign Assets Control, formally lists a country, entity, bank, company, or individual. Once listed, U.S. persons are prohibited from transacting with them. Step 2. Secondary pressure. This is where the leverage multiplies. A foreign bank in Europe or Asia may not be American, but if it clears transactions in U.S. dollars, those payments pass through U.S. correspondent banks. That creates jurisdiction. So the message becomes simple: do business with the sanctioned party, or keep access to the dollar system. Most banks choose access. Step 3. Systemic isolation. Assets freeze. Trade finance disappears. Shipping insurers withdraw. Investors exit. Not because every country agrees politically, but because the financial plumbing runs through the same channels. The power is not in the announcement. It's in the architecture, the incentive structure. Why does this tool get used so often? Because it sits in a strategic sweet spot. It is coercive, but below the threshold of war. It signals resolve without deploying troops. It satisfies domestic political pressure without immediate casualties. It also centralizes influence. Every new sanctions regime reinforces the idea that access to the dollar system is conditional. For policymakers, this is attractive. Low immediate cost, high visibility, reversible, at least in theory. But incentives don't stop in Washington. Financial institutions comply aggressively because penalties are severe. Global firms overcorrect to avoid risk. Risk departments become geopolitical actors. Caution spreads faster than regulation. The uncomfortable trade-offs. Sanctions promise targeted pressure. In practice, economies are interconnected. When a central bank is restricted, inflation follows. When trade channels close, shortages emerge. When uncertainty rises, capital flees. Elites may absorb the shock. Ordinary citizens rarely do. There is also strategic adaptation. Sanctioned states build alternatives. Parallel payment systems, currency swaps, regional trade blocs. Every use of financial coercion incentivizes insulation. Power used repeatedly invites redesign. Public narrative versus structural reality. Publicly, sanctions are framed as moral accountability, a rules-based response, a peaceful alternative to war. Structurally, they function as control over infrastructure. The global financial system is not just a market. It is a network with gatekeepers, and the primary gatekeeper controls the currency most of the world depends on. This is not a conspiracy. It is a byproduct of monetary dominance, regulatory reach, and institutional integration. The system works because participation is voluntary, but exit is costly. Long-term implications. The more sanctions are deployed, the more strategic rivals seek autonomy. De-dollarization efforts increase. Digital currencies emerge. Bilateral trade bypasses traditional clearing routes. None of these replace the dollar overnight, but gradual fragmentation is not dramatic. It is incremental. If the financial system becomes a battlefield, states will eventually fortify their positions. The question is not whether sanctions are effective. They clearly are. The deeper question is sustainability. How often can financial dominance be weaponized before it accelerates the construction of alternatives? Closing. In the 20th century, power projection meant fleets and airbases. In the 21st century, it can mean compliance software and clearing systems. No explosions. And no front lines. Just access, granted or denied. When money becomes leverage, the battlefield is invisible, and the quiet question remains. If the global economy runs on trust and shared systems, what happens when those systems become instruments